Right.
Right, now it's recording.
It's recording.
Yeah.
Okay, so go on. Ask me the questions then.
And we're all silent.
Silent. Yeah.
Sorry, it's so funny. You ask, please ask a question, and nobody does anything. It's so common with students.
Are we doing this topic based or any questions?
No, I'm looking at what I've got two computers. Excuse me. Julie said initial discussion will be software and TNG.
So,
Can you explain for me something more about TNG? Because I'm a novice. I'd
okay.
never heard of it until a few weeks ago.
Okay, so TNG stands for, it's called the Next Genealogist. And what it is the ability to display a GEDCOM file. So when you start adding material to your software, whatever software that is, and you export the file, if you ever then go in and look at it, it just looks all kind of gobbledygookish. You can't work out what's being said. And what it does, it takes that file and displays it in a way that is visually clear. So have you all on this last lesson for this looked at other websites? Did I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did any of you go and look at the House website?
Yes.
Yes, and ignored it.
The House.
Sorry.
Sorry, did you not like the House website?
No, I preferred Adam Thwaite or Sackett.
Yeah.
I liked Adam Thwaite. I liked Adam Thwaite. It was it drew you into the story.
Yeah.
I thought the narrative was very good, and then you had all the data.
Okay. So
it was also, I felt it was quite simple. The House overwhelmed me.
Yes, likewise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a huge study, isn't it? And it's a collaborative study, so there's so much information on it.
30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Really?
But in the two websites,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
one's TNG and the other one isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I got confused. What were
think
the
it's
three
House.
sites?
okay,
It
so
was Howes, Adam Thwaite, and Sackett.
right, I think
And I wasn't sure which was which.
if I tell you, when I first looked at going to have my site, I looked at TNG, and the site I looked at as a kind of I like my site to look like this was actually Paul House's site.
Mm.
Like that nice
Right.
look. And Paul creates his data in Family Historian. I create my material in Roots Magic, and I just upload it to TNG, as does Paul, and it just displays into the way that you see it.
Mm.
Now, between the Adam Thwaite study, let me just quickly grab that up onto the screen.
Yeah.
Sue's been doing that one years though.
Yeah, she has.
And
Yeah,
Sue loves her
Julie,
spreadsheet.
as you pull it up, I looked at the Howes one,
Yeah.
but it was more than just a GEDCOM.
Yeah. There's images.
How did he do the other stuff is my question.
Okay, so when you say other stuff, do you mean things like pictures?
Front page, pictures, how to use his website.
Okay.
I
So-
can see that a GEDCOM is in the background.
Yeah.
And that's why my question originally was, do you go WordPress with TNG in the background? But I know a lot of people, you included, say, just go TNG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do say that because...
And I'm not Italian, but you can see my hands going.
Yeah. Okay, so if I just go back a minute to TNG with Paul's site. So Paul, the site of housefamily.com is not housed on, no pun intended there, on the Guild site.
No.
But he does have a version of it on the Guild site.
Mm.
So he's customized this site a little bit, which you can't do in as much detail on the Guild site. And the reason you can't customize it too much on the Guild site was because there's a whole pile of volunteers supporting that site and the Guild. And if we had 2,000 members with a site and everyone was a bit different, it would be a complete nightmare. So Paul's site has, at the back of all of that is a GEDCOM file. But where the differences are the same, if you like, between his site on his private site and any site that you've got in TNG, is you can add those sections to it. So when I upload documents to my site, I can do that. I just literally upload it. And in TNG, it's called media. And media is things like recordings, pictures, documents, all sorts, things like that. I'm going to try and add a bit in about TNG in a bit more detail before the next Practicalities course runs, because it ran for the first time in March. And I had all the students give me a list of stuff that they thought was missing. Not just missing, things they wanted more detail on.
Yeah.
And I'm gradually working my way through that. And you'll probably be asked exactly the same. Because when you know something, you don't realise what you haven't said, if that makes sense. So things like, you know, you can search in all media and you'll get all sorts. I mean, Paul streamlines his, so you can see histories and documents and headstones and cemeteries. I haven't done any of that because I'm way too lazy. I just slap it all into media. Now, I'm thinking I might fiddle with it, and once this year's over and I start into next year, if I start teaching, is to then just go back through my site and have a bit of a fiddle with it. But only because, you know, you'll get to the point of no return on making amendments to your study. By that I mean, if you've got like, I've got about 1,000 pictures and documents, that's fine. If I want to change anything, I need to go and change it. But what happens when I've got it all digitized and I've got every single picture I own on the site, and I then want to change my mind and want to do it, then it would just be too much and I won't bother doing it because I'm too lazy to be doing that. Because if I'm spending 5 hours fiddling with my site, that's 5 hours I'm not researching. So yes, so in terms of TNG only, the only section you would need to do in terms of HTML is that very front page where you write and say whatever about your study. So if you go to Paul's site, that would be where he says, I mean, on the site it's showing now, he's got a road sign that says Howes Place, and then it says from Great Oaks from Little Acorns. That bit of text is written in HTML, as it is on my own site. Paul knows HTML. I know a little bit, not much, but there is a software site online. You can just go to it and you can upload a Word document and it will spit out what it needs to be in HTML, which is very clever. And I've written the note down to share that link with you. HTML convert, that's what it actually is, not opposed to what I actually did right. So it just means that you have the ability to add stuff to it. Now, and you're right, the WordPress TNG option the Guild have, I don't like at all. What put me off right at the beginning was I looked at a few members that had that site, and how can I put it? There was 2 or 3 that they were great sites, except they had put huge pictures on and not changed things like the colour of the wording, the detail. So you couldn't actually read the text because the text was in white, or a light picture. And if that person had invested, say, 30 minutes fiddling with those little bits, I probably would have gone, you know what, that's quite good. Maybe I'll go with that. So the TNG only type, which is what I've got, is called Type 3. And for a Type 3 site, we've now launched a similar project for the blogs project. So you can actually have a TNG site and a blog site separate
Oh,
and link the two together. We've only just launched it.
okay.
So, and that's a much better option. Now, my site is well established, and my blog site, and I'll probably leave it there. I will eventually move it, I expect, but I'm in no rush to move it now just because I've got enough work. But I think it's a really good way of being able to bring to life the people that you've got in your TNG and in your software. So when you're doing stuff, when you're adding material to your software, you'll have your set process that you use. So for me, I start with a marriage, as I've said. I start with a marriage, I hitch 2 people together, I do 5 couples, and then I gradually go through and I go back and forth with their parents, their children, and perhaps their siblings either side. Once I've done that, I add in my citations, and then I try and upload then to TNG. Now, I don't always, if I'm able to do significant research, say 2 or 3 hours every day, I would probably go back to uploading a new GEDCOM every month on the 1st of the month, but I'm a bit more hit and miss in that. I've not done an update to my site in probably 6 months, just because I've been writing and teaching and doing a whole pile of other stuff, so I've not really had much chance. So, but but at the very beginning when I first started, I would upload and I didn't like how it looked. So I went back into my Roots Magic program and adjusted. So for example, the citations, I didn't like the citations when I used the ones that were already established in Roots Magic. I switched all my citations to free text, went back and uploaded it again. But you can upload as often as you want.
Till you're happy with it.
Yeah, you could upload, you could work every day for 5 hours and upload it every day.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it yourself, it's easy. Everything's easy when you know how to do it. So it's just about uploading it, and it's just a viewing mechanism for the software. So does that answer your question, Sylvia?
Sorry, it was a beautiful explanation, but I'm lost.
You're lost. Okay.
Because I've not done it and not confident.
Okay.
It's like being told something that you know nothing about.
Yeah, I can understand that. So,
But you did it beautifully.
Software at the moment, are you?
Sorry?
You're not using any software, are you, at the moment?
No, I haven't even started a database yet because I'm only just starting.
Okay. And that's fine. That's fine to have, because actually you're in almost a better place than the rest of us. Because once you've started, the beginning is the hardest bit. That's the first thing. So actually everybody, me included, has all started from the beginning, where you have either no software, no significant data collection, or whatever it is. And what I would say is choose something and explore the software options. I've
got a huge amount of paper data.
Definitely.
Sorry, say that again, Sylvia.
I've got a huge amount of data paper. Yeah, so downloaded things and put them in individual files for each person that I've researched.
Sylvia, the sad thing is, if you're going into software, that is so much putting things from paper into the software, which I did 10 years ago, because I had things my family had given me and it was all on paper and it was wonderful. And then I had to work out, well, how do I put it all together? And in the end, I had to go with the software program, which isn't the one I'm using now. It was one that, well, probably 20 years ago, not 10 years ago, So I used something that's no longer available. Then I had to move it. But to get from paper to software, you actually have to type it in again. And oh God, it's horrible. I spent months and months doing it.
And I admire you for that. That's why I've still got 9 drawers in the filing cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one.
A lot, but I can't quite bring myself to it. But Sylvia, you're doing a French surname, aren't you?
Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
you actually have the advantage that I have with my Orlando study. So if you're starting from your French surname now and you start in England, in England and Wales, for example, there's less examples of your surname here than there is in France.
Yeah. Yes. I've 2 London families in Victorian times, ours and another one, which I'd already researched. So that is easy.
Exactly. So it's not like, because I mean, and you'll all know, if you've registered a surname, you'll all know that the Guild uses this ridiculous platform. And I'm telling you nothing here that I haven't told all the trustees. We use the 1881 census as a mechanism for telling you how big a study is going to be. What nonsense. Because if you're researching a foreign name, they think it's okay. I mean, when I registered Orlando, they probably thought, oh, look, there's only 2 people. It'll be okay. Well,
as opposed to me doing Ireland.
yeah.
And I got an email saying, do you know this is extra large?
Yeah, but it's because people don't realise. So they look at it from a British perspective, but if it's a foreign name, it's pointless because there's 2 families in the 1881 census for Orlando, and that's great, except they're both wrong, and everyone who should have been in that census isn't even in there. But even so, there still aren't very many. But by the time you've gone back to Italy, or you've gone to Argentina, or you've gone back to the States, there's hundreds of them. They're just everywhere. So the 1881 census is a really bad marker. And also, it doesn't encourage people researching foreign names. If we keep harking back to, well, the 1881 census, it's just nonsense. And it's something we shouldn't do if we're an international group, in my view. So my thinking is that there'll be less of your surname in England and Wales than there is in France. So if you've only got 2 or 3 families here, for example, so you're saying there's 2 or 3 families in London, or is that 2 or 3 families in the whole of England and Wales?
I know there are 2 in London, and maybe 1 or 2 elsewhere.
So you've probably, say, got no more than 10 family groups then, from England and Wales.
That are not connected to us. Maybe less. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's the pure name, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess what I'm going to suggest is that you try a piece of software and just like you would if you buy a car, you take them all for a spin, is you do just the same with the software and select the one that feels the most intuitive to you. And in order to do that is you start adding. Don't go and add one of those families though, because if you'll get carried away and keep adding and adding and adding, I'd start from something simple, maybe even add your parents perhaps. Just add a very small group of people, perhaps your parents and you and any siblings that you've got, or one of your parents and their siblings, and just get into the process of adding. Even if you don't add lots of detail, just do this just so that you can see what site is intuitive to you to get you up and running. And then once you've done that, you'll be able to know that, yes, I prefer X software. And then you can go back and try and do your build upon your study. So do one step at a time and don't rush it. But you've only got, let's say you've got no more than 10 family groups. That's a nice kind of manageable amount. the beginning. Unlike if you're downloading freebie ended marriages for a surname like Butcher and you've got 37,000 marriages
Mm.
and the hopes of not ever finishing it. So actually,
I was going to say, if only.
so you've got a nice, what appears to be a manageable amount. Does that perhaps look a bit better?
That's helpful, thank you.
And then once you're happy with your software choices, you can then think about going for a website. In terms of going for a website with your with the software, I would go sooner rather than later, just because it's easier to work out that way.
I'm not going,
Yeah.
because you've told us that, Julie,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I'm still struggling. I have my Ireland surname.
Yeah.
I was going to go with marriages.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Right.
because there were 17,000 of them.
Yeah.
And I had my 300 and however many islands in my own family history.
Yeah.
Which I extracted and into a new one. I've now found, it was really funny because I'm on the 1911 census. I was doing 1881.
Yeah.
And then read something that said, go from the closest census, not the other. So I went to 1911. I found 7 more children in one of the families I knew about. So I've actually learned a lot. But now I am trying to work out where to go if I go with censuses. Do I keep on going, or do I just do 1911 with 1900 and something family or names?
Mm-hmm.
And do I build them all together and then say, okay, I've got these in families, which is what I'm currently doing.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, I have these families in Lancashire, which is where my family were, but I've now found God knows how many more families, and say, okay, let's load these up into TNG,
Mm-hmm.
TNG with WordPress. They're my only choices. I'm not going pure HTML because
Yeah, I agree with you.
I was looking at TNG and then wasn't sure what to do on this homepage. I have enrolled for the next 2 courses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure many of us have.
Yep.
Including, stupid me, to do the assessment version of the last one.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why, except that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because you don't get a discount on the assessment version, I discovered. But that's all right, because the assessment on practicalities almost paid for the extra for the assessment on the advanced. But I want to actually do the essay, because that's me.
Mm-hmm.
But do I go with TNG? Because I've now got 600 and something people in that particular surname legacy file,
Mm-hmm.
which includes maiden names of wives and their parents, and I haven't gone beyond going down. Is it worth saying, okay, go for it, Yvonne, go with TNG and hopefully know what to do with the homepage and actually load it, or wait until I've done the next 2 courses. And my eyes are flickering here, which you can't see.
I can imagine. I'd just go for it, Yvonne. I think that
Oh.
the front page, if you just sit,
I thought that's what you say. Oh, shit.
no, if you just sit and work at what you would put on your introductory page. So it might be about how the study connects to you, or how you're going to streamline the study, and, you know, whatever you want to write there.
So very similar to the study profile.
Yeah, to some degree. You can just write, because you can update it at any point you want. It's not. But what I would say is then there are sites that you can go to. You can just cut and paste your text from a Word document into a site, and it will give you all the coding for the HTML. And the TNG team will always help you if you get stuck.
Okay.
And then once you've got some on there, you can keep adding to it. And the same with pictures, and and then you can link pictures, but we won't go there just yet. You can link pictures to individuals.
Oh, don't go there.
But it's I don't want to use the word easy. It's not as daunting as it might appear. Even I can do.
Okay. Well, that sounds interesting, because I've got no pictures, and I have just emailed someone from the Guild who had an interest in my surname.
Yeah.
But no longer shows up.
It won't. It won't show
because
up.
I've registered mine. And I've sent the email saying to her, I know you had it.
Yeah.
But I think this is why it's not there.
Yeah.
How do you link in? What do we do? And it's so foreign to me to talk to strangers.
Who was it? Do you know?
Diane Waters.
Right. Do I know her? I don't know if I know her, but at least you know who it was. You could write to her.
I know who she was, and
Yeah.
I got the email. I sent it off tonight. And thought, oh God, this is so foreign to me.
You're
sending an email.
Yeah, Guild members are really, they're really good with their time. So if you get stuck with something, there's always somebody who knows the answer.
I thought, well, if you had an interest in the surname, and I did say I saw a Waters website on Ancestry. Don't know if it was her or someone related. I actually mentioned it and said, would love to know how you're connected. Here's how I'm connected. I left it there.
Yeah.
And felt, oh, this is horrible.
Get more used to it. You'll find that lots of Guild members are really good with their time.
I'm sure they are.
They are friendly.
Yeah.
I
just don't write to people normally who I don't know.
Can I ask you about the role of a regional rep?
Yes.
So if you wanted to know something, would it be good to contact them in the first instance?
Yeah, I mean,
and they could point you in the right direction if you didn't know.
Perhaps. What region are you in, Sylvia?
Is it Melody?
Melody.
Hertfordshire.
Yeah. Yeah, Melody's really good actually. She'll email you back. Then we have some reps who don't email back. Which is
dear.
Sad to say. So when you said, should you reach out to your rep, it was like, well, actually, they should be reaching out to you in the first instance. But no.
I did get like a welcome email.
Did you? Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Well done.
But yeah, write to Melody if you've got any questions. You can always email me at any time anyway. If you've got any questions or you're not quite sure.
When I re-registered the DOME study, because the previous gentlemen that run it. I talked to my regional rep, which is Wales, which is Margaret Southgate now. It's been divided, North and South Wales. But she put me in touch with Peter Copsey, who on my behalf contacted the son of this gentleman to try and get, if there was any information that could be passed on. But despite 2 contacts, nothing ever came, which is very sad.
Oh, it is.
But as Julie says, I mean, you know, guild members, you know, help each other. You know, you go to the conferences and seminars, and you know, everybody's very helpful.
I wish. I'd love to come to your conferences.
Yeah.
Sorry, here I am in Australia.
I know.
Yvonne, can I butt in here and say, I have recently, particularly since the lockdown, been occasionally contacting people who have put trees onto Ancestry. And I have found them on the whole incredibly helpful, including the ones in Australia. If I mean, very often they're not actually, they've got my family on the tree, but they've gone off laterally.
Yeah.
But they've been quite helpful, and they quite like somebody to actually take an interest. So I don't think you'll be rebuffed by anybody.
Oh no, I'm not, Di. I look on Ancestry. I look on Ancestry for England, and it's interesting because that's where the person who's in the guild, there is a Waters tree on Ancestry, but I don't know if it's her. And I just thought, well, go for it. But yeah, lots of people are so helpful.
Well, I had some photographs that have been in were in my father's possession. He died in 78, and I decided they needed to go back to the family. And through Ancestry, I found the family. The guy who had the tree is not a direct descendant, but he did put me in contact with one of the direct descendants.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love it, Di.
And then I chased I'm still trying to chase somebody who was a friend of mine overseas, and I got the family member, but he's lost contact with my friend. He gave me contact, and I wrote and got a lovely email back from a guy who said, unfortunately, I'm not the so-and-so that you want, but your childhood sounded fantastic. I wish you well. My final comment was, do you still have a scar on the side of your face? Because I can't remember who was chasing who, but Peter slipped and made contact with an angle iron. So in some respects, he will never forget me, because I'm quite sure it left some sort of scar.
Absolutely.
May I just say I need to go now, because I've got to catch the post for my nephew's birthday card. So thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
I need to go to bed.
What I will do is I will sort out a day where we can do a chat, and it'll probably be a Friday or a Saturday evening, just because that way I can get people at both ends of my 17-hour time difference. We can run through, we'll do it as a Zoom, and we'll just try and run through any other questions. So if you've got anything, Pat, either save them up for then, or drop them, and I will get back to you.
That's lovely.
Okay.
Julie, can I ask that you do it in either 2 or 3 weeks' time, so that we've actually had a chance to try inputting some of our stuff onto our own programs, and even get some across, because that'll highlight more problems.
Yeah, no, I was going to do it probably, I'm having a quick look at the calendar. I'm probably going to do it maybe the 7th of August. Just because the 31st would be my preference, but I've got a committee meeting, I think, that day. Or is that the 1st? I need to double check. So it'll either be the very end of July, or it'll be the very beginning of August.
That's 3-4 weeks away, isn't it? So that's fine.
Yeah.
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 And that gives us a chance to do something to then find the problems when we actually can't try to be practical about it.
It also will be ahead for those of you that go onto the practicalities course. You'll actually be ahead in terms of you will have already adapted in some of those things.
Head. Oh,
Yeah,
head.
good. Yeah.
But
Thanks
Is
a lot.
anybody else doing the assessment of the
Yes.
last course?
Yes,
Yeah.
I put my name down for that.
Advanced? Oh,
and
I thought
Can
it
I ask
might
you
just
whether
be
you've got your profiles on the Guild website? Has anybody got that far?
Yes, I have.
Yes,
Very
I
ba-
have.
It's a very basic one because I know I can add to it.
Yeah.
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 There's not a lot
Yep.
to put
Got
at the
you.
minute, but
No.
and I'll try.
Julie, do you mark our advanced essays?
I do. With someone else also marks them, so we can agree a grade.
Oh, right.
It'll be I'm doing a bit of a rewrite on the advanced course just to make it a bit more me. Because obviously I inherited the course material,
Yes.
and I'm kind of
Yeah.
doing a bit of a revamp, and it just takes time. It's the revamp.
Oh.
It's sure you've got all the bits that look the same as all the other bits. You know, that's
Looking forward to it.
mm,
I'm just looking forward to writing my 3,000 word essay.
it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I'm
But
sure it will.
are you wanting to do your profile, Sylvia? Was that your question?
Yeah. I'd much rather write 3,000 words, not hard, than put input data.
I can see that. But yeah, start having a go with your profile, Sylvia. And if you get stuck, email
How
me.
do you actually put? It's a very basic question, but how do you actually put it on the
I must
site?
go. Sorry, Sylvia. Been lovely seeing
Bye.
you.
Bye.
That's all right.
yeah,
And
we'll see.
see you on the
See you next
practicality.
Bye.
And thanks a lot, Julie. I've really enjoyed this course.
Mhm.
All right. See you anon. Bye
Yeah,
now.
bye.
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 So it's a
Sylvia is really easy.
It
Yeah.
is very easy.
so you would have received an email probably from someone who says that your profile's ready to go, and you can just click a link and then add the bits in.
Oh, I haven't.
You haven't.
No.
Let me have a look. Just make sure nothing's changed now. Your surname's here on this piece of paper because it reminded me to have a look at it for the French thing for you. Right, I'll have a look for your profile. I will email you probably tomorrow. I'll try and do it later on, but if not, it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just to
Sorry, it's a basic question, but you have to ask. I don't know.
in any
Yes.
class I teach, there's no basic questions, no silly questions, there's just questions. And I'd much rather ask the question than be flapping about and thinking, well, I don't know what that is. So just ask away.
If you don't know, you don't do it, do you? So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Don't know. Exactly.
Okay.
So any more questions for today?
One comment. Julie, bless you for all the extra time you've given us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I need to send out a kind of housekeeping note later, which will tell you basically go to the Pharos site where you've been going and getting all your lessons. Make sure you've got them all downloaded. And the same for any thread questions. I know that I've still got to send you all about indexes, and I haven't forgotten. It's just that I've half written it. It seemed to be more than I was expecting in terms of I could write. I'm quite wordy, as you'll notice. So so don't worry about that. But you'll get that.
Okay. The one that I've just remembered. Sorry, Julie.
Okay.
You said you would share your marriage index spreadsheet with us.
Sorry, and I think also, did I upload the chat from last week?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine then.
Mm.
I know.
I can't remember.
I
Yeah,
know.
I got it.
I normally file it away, and it's on my desktop, so it looks like I haven't filed it away. But I will double check. If you think you've all had it, then that's great. So yeah, the marriage spreadsheet, I will get that.
Yeah.
Index article, that's fine. You'll get that. I'll also
Thank you.
about HTML converter, so you'll get that.
Thank you.
You're
I'm
very-
sure my Word program has a HTML converter in it.
It will save it for you, probably. I need to just double check it. So I don't normally write.
Yeah.
That's not how I did mine, but that doesn't mean it's not
Yeah.
there.
I haven't found that one, Lynn, but I did find one online which may or may not work. I don't know.
I might get mine with the one online. I'll have a look. And there was something else. Oh, yeah. So we're going to meet at the end of the month or the beginning of next.
That would be wonderful.
I'll send out a housekeeping note, which will just tell you to go and download all your lessons, and any questions on the forum. I've still got a few questions to answer on the forum. I try and leave it a bit late when I go through the questions, because that way, if I've got half the class not on the forum, I don't want to kind of jump in. I want people to be able to jump in. I've got a few comments to still make. The forum is open for probably 100 days from when you first start. So you've all got time, but just download the lessons. I mean, if you haven't downloaded, it's not the world's all going to come to an end, because you could just email me and I'll send them to you.
Oh.
You know, you will at least just download them. And anything else I've promised. So I'll send you all this stuff. I will upload it. And any of the Zoom chats that we've done, I will always upload to my channel, but they'll just be unlisted and I never get rid of them. So you'll just be able to find, as long as you keep the link, you'll be able to get there.
Julie, can I ask, one of the emails I had when I first joined was on registering the guild, and it said full instructions how to set up and maintain your guild profile page for your study may be found under help-website how-tos on the guild website.
Yeah, that should
still be there to help you.
Yeah, and in fact, if you go back to that presentation in lesson 1, I think it's exercise 2 or 3, and it's a recording, and that's looking at where things are on the website. And at the very end of that, Kim talks through about doing the profile. So try and keep that link if you can. If not, because I always add it in. And I think the link is actually in the lesson, the complete link. So obviously, when I
think it is.
When I upload that to the actual actual platform, it converts it all. So you have to click a link. But of course, if sometimes you actually need the link, it makes it a bit more fiddly. I think it's lesson 1, isn't it? Lesson 1, exercise 2 or 3. You write it, and I've no way of knowing where I've put anything. It's exercise 1, exercise 3, lesson 1, and the link's there, and that is, and that's that presentation that Kim did with regard to the website. At the back end of that, there is the profile. But I'll try and see if I can go through it. And
yeah, I'll go back to that because it was very good.
Yeah,
it was good.
The other thing, Julie, that the link was to a written one, which is sometimes helpful.
Yeah,
because it said it gave. You could also find examples.
Find examples. Let me just have a quick look. So under help, website helps probably it. Yeah, profile page help.
Yeah,
that's still there. That's still there. And it gives you indications. When I first became secretary, I would find that I would get, I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 5 emails a week asking me about how to set up profiles. And Kim was the same. So we created that page so that you can just go to it and follow along. And then it was in the presentation, and it is useful. In fact, I may put that link in the text, because I think it is really, really useful.
It says it's organized into 8 distinct topics.
Yeah.
It's a long time since we wrote it, I think. Well, I can't even remember. I know I did spend a lot of time on 2.
It is. It's in a whole set of topics.
Yeah.
But it explains that if you do not fill in any of the topics, they won't show on your profile.
Yeah.
So like I don't have DNA.
Mm.
So it doesn't show on my profile.
Mm.
So it depends what you go through on the topics and fill in, whether they will show on your profile.
Mm.
And I've ignored 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, so have I, Yvonne, at the minute, because I haven't got the information to put there.
Neither have I. I've got no DNA.
No.
So I went, not me. But there's also a few others. Like I did it, and I've seen it on the website about what is the difference between frequency and distribution. And I think I've sort of got there, but I'm not convinced. But yeah, you can fill in the bits you want and ignore the bits you don't want.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it is quite straightforward.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, by all means, have a look at mine. Is if you click on this list of surnames, look for Crossfield and have a look at mine and see how simple it is, because it's very basic at the minute.
And Lynn's done well, and my name is Ireland.
Yeah.
As in the country.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Ireland. And I've done whatever. I don't think it's brilliant, but at least it's there.
That was my feeling. Get it out there.
Yeah. And once you've got the hang of it, you could add in pictures. You can add in all sorts. You can add in maps.
I put a map. I put a picture in. I did put a picture in. Ooh.
You did. I saw it. Well done.
So I'm gonna go with a picture.
Maybe try and have a look at it every 6 months or so, just because in a time frame you will have done quite a lot about your study, hopefully. So yeah. Well, one would hope.
Thanks very much for that.
Yeah, no, fine. As I say, it's Crossfield.
I'll have a look.
Look at anything. It's
right. So
look at Ireland. Not necessarily great.
It's fine.
At least there. Are we done?
There.
Are we done for today? Are there any more questions?
No, I'd say that's fine.
Thank
No,
you.
I
Just
think
get a bit more work done.
Yeah. Have some more work. I'll send you a little note out about the housekeeping bits about downloading stuff and when the next meeting's going to. All right, we can do that.
I'm sure we've all got lots of questions, Julie, but
I'm sure
you've given your time.
I've earned my word.
Above and beyond.
I take 2 paracetamol, Yvonne, before you go to bed.
No, I go ibuprofen.
And a glass of water.
Water? Oh, God, no.
After the wine, you'll be well away.
Oh, well done. No, when I used to teach my students in Second Life, which was always nighttime because they were distance education students, we all joined in. They were drinking in pajamas, so was I.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah, I've done whole committee meetings in my pajama bottoms and I've had a top on. And
and no one knows.
No, not unless any of them watch this, but yeah. But that's what happened.
I agree.
Right, ladies, I'm going to end the recording now, and I will contact you all in the next few days, all right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Julie.
So much, Julie.
All right. See you all later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.